Lexi.
And I'm Bailey, and we're interviewing Jennifer from Dayton Children's Hospital, and she is a NICU nurse. So we're going to ask you some questions now.
Okay.
What made you decide to go into the field you're in?
I decided that I always wanted to be a nurse, and when it came down to it and people would say, "Why did you want to be a nurse?" I really didn't have an answer. I just knew I wanted to be a nurse. And in looking back, when I was young, probably 10, my great-grandmother was in a nursing home, and we made it a ritual every week that when we went to church, when we left church, we always went there every Sunday. We ate lunch with her, and we did what she needed to do. We took her out to the grocery when she was still able. So I think part of that, in retrospect, leads back to being able to care for her and that gratification, that feeling I got of taking care of her, that I wanted to care for others as I got older. And so I think that's part of where I wanted to be a nurse stemmed from.
You said you always wanted to be a nurse. Was there ever a time when you doubted that that's what you wanted to do, or was it always like certain in your mind that you wanted to be a nurse?
It was in my mind that I wanted to be a nurse, but when I enrolled in college, I majored in nursing with an open mind that if I thought this wasn't what I thought it was, that I always had the option to change, and I never did.
What degrees do you have, and how long did it take you to get them?
So I have a 4-year degree from Wright State University. So I have a Bachelor's of Science degree, and it's in nursing. And that took me about 4.5 years to complete. From the time I got out of high school, I graduated in June, and I started college in September, and then 4 years. It took me 4.5 years from that point, going full time.
How much hard work did it take you to get to where you are?
It took a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication. And I know, because I have an 8th grader myself, it's hard to stay focused, especially with the way things are right now with sports and athletics and 4-H and any other extracurricular activities that you may be involved in. And with technology as well, all the social media, you got to check out and see what your friends are doing. I know that interferes with my son's stuff a lot. So, and I didn't have that back then. I mean, we had friends, we had, typewriters still. We were just moving into the computer era. That sounds like it makes me feel old, but we didn't. I had one informatics class in college that we dealt with computers, but other than that, it was kind of like, it was a high-tech typewriter that had a little tiny screen on it, like a word processor, and that was as high-tech as it got. But yeah.
Is there anything you like more or less about your job?
I love about my job the satisfaction that we get these babies in here, and ultimately, most of the time, it's not planned that you have a baby that has something wrong and you have to come to the NICU. So for most of these families, it kind of derails what their ultimate dream was. So getting them back on their feet, getting that baby and that family together as a whole, and watching them go home. And that is what is the thing I like, is that they go home as a family, they go home as a unit, and we have helped, foster that.
Is there anything you do not like about your job?
Obviously, no one likes when babies pass away, and that's one of the downsides of the job. But here at Dayton Children's, we average anywhere from 3 to maybe up to 5 a year, and that's probably a lot. But it doesn't happen every day. But it does happen. We're human. Things happen. But those are the things that we don't like to see, but sometimes they're a little inevitable.
What's the hardest part about your job, and why is that the hardest part?
The hardest part is trying to keep everyone happy, trying to keep the parents, because these parents, when you have a new baby, they're excited. They're the voice for their baby. So getting them to understand a lot of times why they're here and what we need to do to get them home can be a little bit frustrating because they want everything to be perfect, and sometimes it's not, and they don't want to hear that it's not perfect. But we need to get them to an acceptance level and get them on board so that they can foster taking care of this baby to get it home. And that sometimes can be difficult, but the end result is more positive than that.
Is there any special skills that someone should have to make it to the level you are?
When you go, most hospitals right now, like you can go into the field of nursing and get a 2-year degree, which is where you can get an associate's degree as an RN, and you can get a bachelor's degree as an RN, which is 4 years, and then you can get a master's degree in 4 years, or 2 years additional, so a total of 6 for the master's if you include the bachelor's. Most hospitals right now are requiring, at least the ones here in the Dayton area, are requiring that if you have an associate degree in nursing, which is 2 years, they're requiring you to have a bachelor's degree, which is a 4-year degree. And most places right now, like that we're hiring, require that you have that within 5 years of your hire date, because eventually they're going to be going to, you have to have a bachelor's degree to even apply. We'll work to that. So,
is there any skills you should have as a person, or personal skills that you think you should have?
You definitely need people skills because we interact with people every day. We interact with families. We interact with patients. If I work outside of the NICU and I work into the other pediatric part of the population, I may be taking care of a 2-year-old. I may be taking care of a 10-year-old. I may be taking care of an 18-year-old. So you need to be able to interact with. And these kids, some are here alone, but most aren't here alone. So you have to interact with the families. You have to be willing to talk to people. You have to be willing to deal with things that happen in life. You need good math skills. You need good dedication skills, and to stay focused.
What's your opinion on the change in technology from when you were an 8th grader to now?
Well, I told you a little bit about that. Yeah. I had a word processor with a high-tech screen. It looked like a typewriter with a screen. So the fact that I'm able to do FaceTime right now is a huge thing. But, there's way more out there than I know how to do. I can FaceTime and I can text, but all of that thing. But that changes our whole scope of things because I've been here long enough that we were doing paper charting. I've been here for 17 years. So I graduated high school when I was 18. I went straight to college. I graduated from college when I was about 23, somewhere around in there, and I've worked here at Dayton Children's for the last 17 years, so I'm about 40, if you do the math. So I've been here my entire career. So when I first started here, we did paper charting, so we charted on paper with a pen and paper, and we transitioned probably about 8 years ago over to Epic, which is our computerized charting system, and that was a big deal. We have a lot of people here in our NICU that work here that have been here up to 41 years. So you can imagine the big change for those people who have never been used to working with a computer and doing that. But a lot of our stuff, if I need medical records on a baby or a baby's mother who just had a baby from another hospital, I can get those through the computer. I don't have to wait for a fax machine anymore. So it has made, instantaneous things there. And the other thing is when families take care of, when people have a baby who are in our nursery and they have relatives that live outside of the Dayton area, maybe in Texas or California, they are able to stay up to date with their family members because they can FaceTime or they can Skype like you and I are right now, and they can see the baby. So it makes a world of difference for them to have support, even though their family may not be here directly, but they're able to be in communication and show the baby off to them by way of technology as well. In terms of technology and keeping our babies alive, there are so many advances in technology that have happened over the last just even 10 years that we're doing right now that are life-saving measures that have been proven great outcomes for babies that wouldn't have survived even just 10 years ago.
Is there any advice that you could give us for high school and college?
Don't blow it off. And it's easy to do, but stay focused. And it's okay if you don't know what you want to do, if you don't know what you want to major in when you go to college, that's fine. You can take your general education courses and you'll find your way. And even if you get into a career path and you get into it and you think, man, this isn't what I thought it would be, it's okay to say, I think it's time for me to change, because you don't want to be unhappy in the job that you're doing. And, I wouldn't be here doing the same job I'm doing for 17 years if I hated it. So it's stay dedicated and stay focused. Take those courses seriously, because when you go to apply for college, they are going to look back at your high school. They are going to look at your grades. They are going to look to see how serious you took your classes, whether you're taking blow-off classes or you're taking classes that are important for your future. So stay focused in what you do and have fun, but good mix to it.
If you could say one thing to your 8th grade self, what would it be?
When I was an 8th grader,
Yeah.
to be more serious. You have to be a kid, but I kind of was probably into the same thing. I wanted to take the easy way. I took some of those classes because I knew I could get A's in those easy classes. But when I left high school and I went to, how big is your high school?
Oh, wow.
How big is your school?
Well, there's 40 kids in our 8th grade, so there's probably only about 400 in our high school.
Okay, so when I graduated from high school, I graduated with like 68 people, so kind of a small,
Yeah.
school as well. So I thought I would get by, I can take those easy classes and do those easy grades. But once I got out of high school and into college, I really had to learn. I had to train myself how to study, because I didn't do it probably the way I should have before. So, and it's okay. You got to keep a good balance of your friends, and that's part of life. You have to keep a good balance of friends and fun, but you also want to stay dedicated, because that's going to be your future out there. That's going to be the rest of your life, and what you do in the past is going to be reflective of what you'll do in the future. So stay focused. Take those classes that are going to mean something and make a difference, because it'll only make it easier on you as you transition into college and then into the workforce as you get older.
Those are all the questions we have for you.
Do you have any questions for us?
Do you have any plans? Do you have any ideas of what you want to be when you grow up or when you go to college?
I wanted to be a neonatal nurse.
All right.
And I want to be an occupational therapist.
All right. I would encourage you to explore those things. So even as you get into high school, do some job shadowing, because there's different areas, of nursing. There's different areas that the occupational therapist works in: the adult setting, the pediatric setting, the nursing home setting, the hospital setting. I would encourage you just to go and shadow and explore those avenues and say, hey, this isn't what I thought, or this is exactly what I thought it would be. This is what I love. So explore those things and see what you like and see what, drives you to those things. Do you have what's leading you to those? Anything? Any life experience, or are those just things that are appeasing to you?
They're just appeasing to me.
Yeah. But yeah, explore those, even in high school, and looking, you can always be looking to see the career tracks, as you're looking at colleges as to what types of classes you might have to take. So, pay attention in those math classes, pay attention in those science classes for both of those degrees, because those are things that you're going to use later on, especially when you get into college. It'll make it a little bit easier. Okay?
Well, thank you for doing this interview with us.
All right. Well, good luck on your project.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.